Alrighty, so we're going to be talking about something that's called the factor label method. And the factor label method is a way of multiplying and dividing to convert quantities of things. In some cases, it's things like time. For in this case, we're doing weeks to minutes. Sometimes it's length and distance. Sometimes it's mass to weights, different kinds of things like that. In this method, we'll use it a lot this year, and it can be difficult to grasp. So I'm going to try and go pretty slow here. So the first thing we need to do for this type of problem is we have to go through our problem and see what units we're in and what we're trying to get into. So in this problem, how many minutes are in 4.5 weeks? What we are in is weeks right here, and we're trying to get into minutes. So I'm going to go up here and write, okay, weeks to minutes. And now this is the thing, I don't know how many minutes are in a week. I just don't know that off the top of my head. But I do know how many days are in weeks, and how many hours are in a day, and how many minutes are in an hour. And so I can set my conversion up to help me get through each of those as a step, so I can eventually end up in minutes. So the way that you do a conversion, the first step, the first thing you want to do is you want to find the number that you're given in the problem. And in this case, it's 4.5 weeks. Okay, so whatever you're given, you write that over here in the top left corner. And I'm just going to abbreviate weeks with W. Okay, we've done that, and then I draw this little crosshair thing right here. Now, to set up a conversion, I need to get rid of weeks. I need to get rid of W. To get rid of something, you put it on the opposite side. Okay, what that means is if I want to get rid of weeks, I have to put it down here. So I'm going to go ahead and put weeks down here. And then I know that I want to get into the thing that I know that off the top of my head that I can next get into, which in this case is days, right? I don't know how many hours are in a week. I don't know how many minutes are in a week, but I do know how many days are in the week. So I put that on top. So now I just have to fill in the numbers. Down here on the bottom, 1 week for every 7 days. Now, every time you set up one of these little 2-section things right here, these two, the top and the bottom, need to be equal to one another. Okay, so make sure that you're making 7 days equals 1 week. Make sure that those are equal to each other. We've done that. Now, when I go to do my math, the W's are on opposite sides, so they cancel out, and I'm left with days. Well, days isn't what the problem wants, but I do know how many hours are in one day. So days is going to go on the bottom, and hours are going to go on the top. Now we have to fill in the numbers. There are 24 hours for every 1 day, and I can draw this line. Days is going to go away. And now I'm left with hours. Well, hours is still not where I need to be. So then hours will go on the bottom and minutes will go on the top. And for every 1 hour, I know that there are 60 minutes. Hours goes away. And I am left with minutes, the unit that the problem asked me to get. All right, so now that we've set this up, we have to actually do the math portion. And so what you would do for this problem is you'd pull your calculator out and you would literally punch in 4.5 times 7 times 24 times 60 divided by 1 divided by 1 divided by 1. Multiply across the top and divide across the bottom. That's always the rule. If you write anything down in your notes, write that down. Multiply on top and divide on the bottom. Okay? That's how you do factor label. And so if we've done this all correctly, we will get the answer, which is 45,000, I'm going to section this off, 45,360. Okay? If you didn't get that answer, go back and double check just to be sure. So that's factor label method there. Let's move on. These are the step-by-step instructions for conversions. So again, if you're more of a words person than seeing it done, you need to write what you are given. So that's the number in the problem in the top left corner. You're determining your conversion factors. That's like saying, 1 day equals 24 hours. Those are your conversion factors that you'd put in this kind of form, 1 for every 24 or something similar. You place them so that the units cancel. That means if they're going to be canceling, they're on opposite sides. Then cancel your units, multiply across the top, divide across the bottom, and then double check your math. Okay, so we're going to do some conversion practice here. How many inches are in 3 feet? These are one-step conversions, so they should be a little bit easier for beginner math here. So 3 feet is what we're given. We put that in the top left corner and we draw our little crosshairs. So now I need to get rid of feet, which means it's going to go on the bottom. Anytime you get rid of something, you put it on the opposite sides. And now I need to get into inches. Now hopefully you know that for every 12 inches, there is 1 foot. So for this one right here, and I'm going to change colors. For this one right here, you're going to go 3 times 12 divided by 1. Feet cancel, and you're left with 36 inches. Okay? Let's look at number 2 down here. How many seconds are in 1.75 minutes? All right. Well, 1.75 minutes is what we're given, so we're going to put that over here. 0.75 min crosshairs. I need to get rid of minutes, so that's going to go on the bottom, and I want to get into seconds. Now all I have to do is decide, okay, how many seconds are in a minute? Hopefully you know. 60 per 1. Okay? Multiply across your top, divide across your bottom. And the answer to this one, which I'm going to put down here, 105. Okay? This last one right here, we're going to do this right here. How many months are in 0.6 years? So 0.6 years, that's the number in the problem. 0.6 years. I'm just going to do that for years. Crosshairs. Years goes on the bottom because we want to get rid of it. And months goes on the top. Okay? Now, I know that there are 12 months for every 1 year. So I'll go ahead and fill those in. Years is going to cancel. And I'll go ahead and just multiply across the top, divide across the bottom, and I'll get 0.2. Our units were seconds. So that's how you're doing it. I'm hoping that this is good for you. If not, come and get some extra help. Send me an email, talk to me after class, and we'll try and get this taken care of so that you are understanding what's going on there. Now these ones are 2-steppers, okay? Which means that we're adding a second conversion step. Like the very first one I did was a 3-step. They're now 2 steps. So we're getting seconds in 4 hours. All right, so 4 hours. I'm going to start this one way up here. 4 hours is what we're given, crosshairs. Trying to get rid of hours. Now, I don't know how many seconds are in an hour off the top of my head. If you do, fantastic. Go ahead and plug it in. But if not, we're just going to have to go through minutes for now. So for every minutes, we have 1 hour. Hours is going to go away, and I'll be left with minutes, right? Minutes is not what I need in the problem. I need seconds. So instead, we're going to go through again for every 1 minute on the bottom here so that they cancel. There are 60 seconds. Minutes goes away. Hopefully, find the correct answer here. 14,400. And the unit on that is seconds. All right, next one over here. How many inches are in 14 yards? All right, well, 14 is our number, 14 yards. And I don't know how many inches are in a yard. Maybe you do, but let's pretend that I don't. I actually do, but let's pretend we don't. And so we're going to put 1 yard on the bottom here, and I know that there are 3 feet for every yard. Yards goes away. And now I'm going to have to put feet on the bottom over here and get into inches, which is what I want. For every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. And that is the end of our conversion factor, where we end with what we need right here, inches. That's what the problem asks for. So now we're going to go 14 times 3 times 12, which is 504 inches. That's a 0 right there. Now you might have noticed I didn't divide by 1 on that one there. That's because dividing by 1 does nothing to a number, and so I just can ignore it. But you need to be careful, because if this happened to say 4, for instance, down here, then you would have to divide. All right, let's look at this one over here. How many months are in 14 decades? All right, so a decade is 10 years. So 14 decades. That's the number we're given. We do our crosshairs. For every 1 decade, there are 10 years, right? Decades goes away. And then we're left with years. So we need to get out of years and into months. For every 12 months, there is 1 year. And that's the end of that problem right there. We'll be able to just apply on the top, divide across the bottom. And we get that there are 1,680 months in a year. or in excuse me, 14 decades.